Now that we have our scarf joint done, we've got our stacked heel block completed, it is time to decide whether or not we want to do a laminated neck. So a laminated neck can be done in several ways. Well, maybe not several, but a couple. I like to do them after I have completed this portion of the neck. There is also a way that you can do this by just doing it on the main neck blank and laminating that up and then getting that straightened out and then doing this block. You can laminate the entire 36-inch blank and then try to do your scarf joint and try to line these up. But man, if you don't have this absolutely perfect when you line up these blocks after they're laminated, it is a nightmare. I do not prefer that at all. Actually, I advise against it completely. A laminated neck is simply this. It is having at least one piece in between your two neck halves, sometimes more. On this particular one, this is Cocobolo with two pieces of black fiber, one on each side. You can do really as many laminations as you want to. I think that a laminated neck creates a more stable neck and a stronger neck in terms of ability to resist torsional twist and to be able to resist the tension of the strings better, because you have these glued surfaces together that are going to resist that bending as a unit. So if you don't want to do a laminated neck, perfectly fine. It is a faster build if you don't want to do a laminated neck. That's not a problem. So if you don't want to do a laminated neck, you'd really just kind of pay attention to the first few bits here that I'm going to do to clean up this, and then you can skip it and go on to the next phase. Now to get my laminated neck, I want to get this block square to this face. And then I want to flip it over, and I want to get this whole stack square to this face as well. Because I eventually want to take this to a table saw and slice this straight down the middle. And I want to make sure that I've got these sides square in order to run that safely down the table saw. As well as the scarf joint in the back. I want to make sure that my scarf joint didn't get off one way or the other, and it's going to cause a slightly unstable piece going through the fence and bumping the fence on this side or the other. So I'm going to clean this up just with a block plane. That's actually super close to square. There's a little indent here, but I'm not concerned about that. I would be more concerned if there was something higher that was trying to kick my square out this way where it wouldn't run against the fence very well. But we're good. Okay, so these two are a little low, which is fine. And this outside part is in plane with this. Now the other side, I'll clean that up. So if on the other side these two parts were low, I'm guessing that on this side they're high, and that's kind of what's happening, so I can see that. Okay. Now that is pretty square. Okay, I'm happy with that. Yep. Now that is set. Actually, there's a little bit of glue on here that I do want to take off. There we go. The last thing I'm going to do before I run this across a table saw is check on my scarf joint and make sure that that's squared up. And I can tell you that it's not. Okay, so I do need to take off some up here. The way that I'm approaching this is that I'm taking a little bit off here, a little bit more, working my way back up, not quite making it to the joint itself. off by a slight bit. Okay, that's really about it. Feel good about taking that to the table saw, which means that this side is going to be slightly bent in. So I'm going to have a gap here if I run it across the table saw on the fence, which is just fine. But what I didn't want to happen is that as I pushed it along the fence, that this side would kick it out. That would not be good. Now there are several ways that we can cut this. You can draw a line and cut it by hand. That seems tedious and error prone to me, but you certainly can. You can take this to your bandsaw, straight down the middle, and then open it up and clean up those halves with a hand plane or on a jointer. The other way is, one of the other ways, is to use a table saw. You'll need to plane and square the neck if you use it against any fence, but it's absolutely critical for safety reasons if you use the table saw. The table saw will leave a small gap that you'll need to finish by hand, and I'll show you that after I finish the cut. I'm going to finish this one up by hand. Now I've just got a little bit to clean up here, and it looks like I've got a few saw marks to take out as well. I'll just clean those up with a block plane. Now I could take both of these to a jointer, but I really want to keep as much material as possible. I don't want to start getting too narrow. Even with my laminations, I still want to be aware of that. Now I've got these two halves that I need to get these saw marks out and get these high points off where I hand cut it. So I'm going to use my block plane. Now I'm just doing this by feel, trying to make sure that this ridge is gone here, and it pretty much is to the feel. Okay, I'm checking that. That all looks good. I'm happy with that. Yeah. And move on to the next one. I got a couple of teeth gouges on the side where the wider carbide tooth took a chunk out of that. So I'll need to take my low angle jack plane to the whole thing. Almost got that burn mark out of it, and actually that's probably okay. It's so thin, and with the laminate that I'm going to put next to it, that probably won't show up. All right, so this I am happy with. That looks good there. Yeah. All right, now these are ready to set up for lamination. Get this cleaned up and then we'll go over that.